Welcome back and thank you for taking time out to listen to the official Fleetwood Town CodCast. Hello and welcome back. I'm your host Sam Fielding, and this week we're going to talk to the Fleetwood Town Wrens about their move from Blackpool Wrens to Fleetwood. We'll also be talking about how the game has developed and also hear from Captain Nathan Pond on this Saturday's home match against Southend United. That and much more on the CodCast. I'm joined by Rachel Warren in the studio, and obviously you're a key player for Fleetwood Town Wrens, and I was wondering if you can give the listeners a bit of an insight into how you got involved in football.
Well, my two brothers taught me how to play football when I was about 7. I joined my brother's football team, YA Juniors, and then from then, when I wasn't able to play for the boys anymore, I went to Thornton Cleavers, which at the time was the only girls' football team around.
It must have been hard. If you wanted to get involved in football, it must have been quite difficult to go out there and join a club, really.
It was hard. I was my brother is my twin brother, so I went along with him. I think it would have been a lot harder if I didn't join the same club he did, because I can remember when I first joined, it was, oh, don't pass to her, because I was the only girl in the team. And then as the seasons went on, obviously I was just... I got voted Players Player one year, and that was great because obviously I was the only girl in the boys team. And
how did that make you feel winning that award? Obviously you're the only girl playing in that team. It must have been quite an achievement for you.
Yeah, it was great. I was happy.
And obviously recently, you were Blackpool Wren Rovers and you've moved to Fleetwood Town Wrens now. How's that transition been for you and obviously all the players and the coaching staff?
It's a great move. It was quite hard for me to leave Wrens because I've been there since I was 17. But it's attracted, being Fleetwood now, it's attracted a lot of interest. We've got a lot of new faces just from changing the name.
Obviously it's an open age what you've got set up now, and Fleetwood have got on offer many different age groups throughout, from under 8s, under 7s up to the open age. That must give young players get a bit of motivation really to get into the open team and maybe one day represent Fleetwood.
Yeah, it's great because when we come down on Sundays, for instance, when we've just played, there was loads of young girls playing on the Astro out front, and as they were walking off, a couple of them did come over and watch us train, and I think it gives them, they know we're here now, whereas before I don't think they did.
And you've played, 2 matches now for Fleetwood Town Wrens, and the first being a 1-0 win against Blackburn, and I heard you scored the winning goal in that game.
Yeah, it was a tough game. We battled straight to the end, but last minute corner, and one of our subs on the sideline said go for goal, and I did. Shot from the corner, and luckily it went over the keeper's head and back post.
Not many times you score from a corner, but looking at the second game against Tranmere, that was the first game here at Poolfoot. I'm guessing that was kind of a highlight, really, isn't it? Moving here and playing at these wonderful facilities. Yeah,
the facilities were amazing. The pitch was like a carpet, but I don't think it was our game. We hit the woodwork a couple of times, and I thought there should have been a penalty in our favour, but that's just football.
But I want to look back at women's football and the history, and we did say before that we spoke about the women's game, and that the documentary went out on Channel 4 when football banned women, and I guess that was just before the Euros, which took place this year. I guess seeing and hearing that women back then were getting crowds of 10 to 60,000, it's hard to imagine where the women's game might be now if things were different and the FA didn't ban the women back in 1921. Where do you think the game possibly could be now? Do you think there might be more equality between men and women's football today?
Yeah, I think there would be more equality, but like now, the attendance at games and everything else isn't at the standard of men's. So, like Man City now, I think they average around 2,000 per game, where like you said back then it was 60,000. I think without the banning of football, we possibly could be nearer that numbers. It's
amazing. You look at the Dick Kerr ladies local team based in Preston, and maybe some history, we'll maybe find that at a later date, but Lily Parr and Alice Woods were key players back in that era, and it must hurt as a women's footballer to see those players only getting recognition now for what they did achieve then. So personally, do you think it hurts you and other women's footballers to see what happened to those players back then?
I think it does. I think we're just glad they are getting the recognition now. However, it should have been done sooner rather than at this date.
Do you think they'd still be playing in front of 60,000 now if they were...
Yeah. I think it'd be more. Yeah, I think there'd be more money in women's football if it didn't get banned. I think there'd be more interest in women's football, and girls wouldn't have dropped out at an early age from school. There'd be more progression and a pathway in more clubs.
Is that what do you think you're seeing that now more of a pathway for young women to get involved in football? Like you said, when you were growing up, you only had one team to go to play football.
Yeah.
But now with teams, Fleetwood, Blackpool, we're looking locally, AFC Fylde, for example, they've set up women's teams. They've been so successful. Do you think things are set in place now for women's football to hopefully get to somewhere near the men's game as it is today?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in a couple of years' time it'll be closer to the men's game. I just think it's a great opportunity for girls younger than me. I wish I had this opportunity growing up anyway, because there's so much more. Because I played in the boys. 11, I had to stop playing. I had to go to a women's team. Thornton was the only one. From there we joined to make Blackpool Ladies, because Blackpool Ladies didn't have a team. I went to Wren Rovers. They were a self-sufficient club. They've been going for 28 years, but they found it difficult because of funding and recognition. They didn't have anything feeding up to them on the younger scale. So moving to Fleetwood and having the under 13s, 14s, there's no jump, so you wouldn't necessarily stop them playing football.
And I guess where you now are at Fleetwood, where do you see the team, the club, in the next 5 years? I put you in another spot with that question.
Yeah, you have. Well, it was obviously devastating to get relegated last year. So our main aim for this season is to fight for promotion. I think with the squad we've got now, we stand a very good chance of doing it. We'll continue to train hard and progress in every game, and I've got every confidence that with the support from yourselves, our managers and coaches, that any aim that we set is possible.
Rachel, thank you so much for coming down this afternoon to talk to us on the CodCast. It's been great to have an insight into the women's game and talk about how you got involved. So thank you very much for coming down this afternoon.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was Rachel there speaking to us live on the CodCast, and we did speak to head coach Uwe Rosler on Thursday during the press conference, and here's what he had to say about the opponents on Saturday.
I think it will be cagey. I don't think the game will be won in the first 20 minutes for either team. I think we have a game plan, and hopefully it will work for us. So you never know, but I'm sure Phil will come up with something like he did last year. It's just a interesting battle between the two clubs, and hopefully we can keep our 100% record going.
That was head coach Uwe Rosler speaking at the press conference on Thursday. We did also speak to Nathan Pond, the club captain, about this weekend's fixture, and here is what he had to say.
Good side. We've got a lot of experienced players who've been around the block, Anton Ferdinand, Cox, people like that. Last year, physical side last year, but they also keep the ball very well. They've got a couple of physical players up front as well, so it's going to be a tough game. Hopefully we can get the 3 points. Yeah, definitely. Like I said before, I was upset after the game, frustrated. No midweek game, so we've been working hard all week on the training pitch, double sessions to go over a few errors where we can improve as well.
Well, I'm afraid that's all we have time for this week. We hope you've enjoyed listening to the CodCast. Huge thank you to all of our guests, and we will see you on Saturday down at Highbury, where Fleetwood take on Southend. Come on, Fleetwood!